Raleigh over the weekend. During the speech, he slammed Washington Republicans and laid out his vision for North Carolina.
And Congressman Ralph Norman is running for South Carolina governor. He made the announcement this weekend during a speech in Rock Hill. Norman says he wants to pass term limits for state lawmakers. He is hoping to succeed Governor Henry McMaster, who can't run again because of term limits.
All right, if you're heading out the door, it is beautiful outside. Here's a live look coming in on I-77, York County. You can see those backups starting on I-77, inbound much of the same out towards I-85. One accident I do want to highlight, it's right here still, North Sharon Amity Road at Shamrock Drive. Otherwise, just a couple of smaller ongoing minor incidents, but nothing too significant for your Monday morning commute. Chris?
All right, and a shout out to Joel Rutledge for our first weather complaint that just came in, but he was very nice about it. So yeah, as he said, complain about the heat and humidity, but we're making it better essentially. So
very good.
We're doing what we can because it's 100 degrees again today. 99 on Tuesday, 97 and 94. But then after that, 88, lower 80s heading into the weekend. So we have something to look forward to. So we're weather alert over the next 4 days for a chance of feeling like 105 plus. There's a chance we might drop off Thursday, but it's still going to be humid enough heading into this time frame that each and every day still feeling like 100 plus. Today, I think it's going to feel the hottest. The hottest heat index that Charlotte has recorded so far this year is 110. We could be as much as 109 to 110 across the area, so keep that in mind. One of the hottest feeling days of the year.
But how about Saturday?
Hey. Chance for rain, lower 80s, we're doing
Look
it.
at that.
Never sounded
Wow.
better.
Winning.
That's right. A reminder, folks, the news does not end here. Coming up at 7 over on WCNC Plus, countdown to kickoff. WCNC Sports Director Nick Carboni joins us live as we kick off week 2 of the Panthers training camp. Plus, we're going to show you how first responders are staying cool in this record heat and details on a near mid-air collision at a California airport.
That starts in just a few minutes at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus. We'll see you there.
Joining us live right now at 7 a.m. streaming on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We are weather alert today because of dangerous heat. Take a live look at the city. It is already hot out there. We're talking about 7 o'clock in the morning. Our temperatures are near 80 degrees. We're going to check in with meteorologist Chris Mulcahy to find out more about our temperature today and for the week.
Cooler, so not too bad, right? Yesterday we were 102. Today we're only calling for 100, and we were 101. This is a record-breaking temperature on July 26th, and then June 25th was the last time we hit 100 degrees. Last time we even had multiple 100-degree highs during a given year was 2015. So yeah, this is definitely history in the making. I don't think we're going to hit 5 days in a row as we were calling for Friday, and I'm sure everyone's super disappointed. We have our heat advisory that officially goes from noon until 8, and we'll have another one by tomorrow. It goes 11 a.m. until 8 p.m. Now there is one section of our viewing area, and it's just this one right here, and that's around Rockingham and Richmond County. That is an extreme heat warning, meaning it could feel as much as 110 to 115, and also around the Raleigh area, same thing goes. Current temperature still at 79 degrees. Dew points actually on the rise. That's why today is challenging the top spot for 110 for the hottest heat index of the year. 82 is already our feels like. We're going to feel like the 90s here in the next couple of hours, and then beyond that, I think we can feel like the triple digits as early as 11 to noon. So yikes. The low so far, as I mentioned, 79, but that also could be a record-breaking warm start to the day. There's also the warmest lows or highest minimum temperatures that go into record keeping. So July 28th, the warmest starts that we ever had is 78, 77. That happened twice back in 1997 and 1993. So good shot. We'll officially get our low temperature coming up here shortly. Splash pad report, well, it's going to be a peak heat index right between about noon to 2. But hey, at least at that point with the water, it's going to feel so much better. But look at this. It's already feeling as much as 107 by 2 p.m. So if you are bringing the kids to the splash pads, I highly recommend to maybe do it before 1 o'clock. It's a little bit safer at that point. And that kid's having a great time. Shout out to JT. Here's a look at what's happening. We are dealing with that excessive heat index really over the next 2 to 3 days. Wednesday might be an anomaly because it's right on the cusp. Likely the National Weather Service might give kind of a just-in-case heat advisory. And then Thursday, I think things are trending down enough that we might just miss out on that heat advisory for day 6 in a row. We don't need any more. We've already had 3 in a row, and that's counting for today. And then beyond that, we're even talking about a real feel in the 90s. And by that point, we're expecting a big cool down as well. So our upper level pattern, we have this high pressure system, this big dome of heat that's been directly over us. That's why we maximized our warm up to about 102 yesterday. Well, it's starting to retreat, and that's why we're only getting up to around 100 degrees. Only 100 degrees, right? And then eventually that's going to break. So this big ridge breaks down and eventually will allow a little bit of a trough. And a trough allows that cooler air to sink in from the northwest. So that's coming, my friends. This is Sunday morning that we are seeing a nice little breakthrough as far as that heat finally breaking across the area. And when I say break, I mean like it's almost breaking the temperatures, because instead of back to normal, we're 10 degrees below normal compared to 10 degrees above normal, feeling more like September compared to August. So August is a little confused at first. Isolated scattered storms starting today, tonight, heading really through the rest of this week. Most days returning to that, hey, I have a chance for a pop-up shower or thunderstorm each and every afternoon, but it's really starting to build once you get to the middle of the week as we have more of a favorable lifting environment for scattered thunderstorms. Here's a look at today. I think most of the activities where I'm standing off towards the western side of the Carolinas. And then we're seeing a pop-up shower or storm possible, but most of us staying dry. Just don't be caught off guard if that happens, especially late afternoon. I think most of the rain, if we do see anything, it really happens when a lot of us are sleeping. Seeing first signs of it north of I-40 by about 8 p.m. And then it starts to fill in the gaps. So some of these could be some big-time rainmakers, and it's a pretty solid thunder, especially the environment we're under. We have what's called an inversion, so that's going to trap a lot of the sound. So if you do hear thunder, it could carry on for a longer period. I think by about 4 o'clock, most of these are out of here, but there is a chance for that morning rain. And then check out the map. It's getting a little bit busier for your Tuesday afternoon, so a higher favorability for a scattered thunderstorm. Same thing for your Wednesday, seeing some bubble up during the afternoon, so kind of returning that usual summertime pattern. So there it is, 7-day forecast, weather alert today and over the next 4. Again, we could drop one day off, and that would be Thursday. Nights back in town this Tuesday, and it's going to be much better by the weekend. I do think you have a better chance for scattered showers and thunderstorms on Friday. It's a little bit more widespread and cloudier on Saturday, but still, even with a cloudier and wet day, highs in the lower 80s is welcome. It's a really a crazy shift. We'll be back to normal, though, by about day 10 of the forecast, August 6th, where we return to 90 degrees. Now it's return to traffic with Majestic. Good morning to you.
Good morning, everyone. Well, if you're heading out the door for your Monday morning commute, here's I-77 coming in from South Carolina this morning. Boy, it's a gorgeous start to the new work week. Definitely a warm morning, though. Do want to let you know about an active crash that I'm continuing to follow. Here's a picture of it. It's on Roswell's Ferry Road at Brookshire Boulevard. You can see where the incident is, and it's going to slow down traffic just a bit. So as we switch it over to my map, there's several things to get to, but this is exactly where it's at. And we're seeing those colors really now pop up. That orange is indicating slow moving traffic. The red here is indicating that stop and go traffic. So again, it is on Brookshire Boulevard at Roswell's Ferry Road. I'll keep an eye on that for you, and I'll let you know of a couple of alternate routes that you can also take if you just want to avoid that area. Another crash has been ongoing for at least the last 30 to 45 minutes. It's right here on North Sharon Amity Road at Shamrock Drive. You can see much of the same colors popping up. Traffic is slowing down. This crash here on Gibbon Road and Nevin Road, you can see mainly green, so not impacting a lot of people, but you may encounter it if your morning commute typically takes you that way. And don't forget about this. I've been following this one. It's just a stalled vehicle on Old Statesville Road at W.T. Harris Boulevard, but we're still seeing that yellow for those inbound lanes, meaning that traffic is just moving slowly again. Big picture perspective, things are definitely starting to pick up as more people are waking up and heading out the door. I-77 inbound again, slowing on down if you're commuting out that way. But as we zoom it on out just a bit, if you're traveling out towards Rock Hill or Fort Mill, it looks mainly green as of now. Those backups on I-85 out towards Gastonia are starting to build. We'll have another check on those area roadways coming up here shortly.
All right, Majestic, thanks. So, breaking news update this morning on that 485 crash that killed 6 people over the weekend. Just heartbreaking. Highway Patrol tells us 16-year-old Logan Sauer collided with another car in the lane beside him, sending both cars into a semi that was parked on the side of the road. Sauer was killed along with 5 people in that other car. You can see their names and ages there on your screen. The youngest, just a year old. A 16-year-old girl was also hurt, but she is expected to survive.
7:07 now, and like we mentioned earlier, the dangerously hot temperatures aren't over yet. Temperatures are set to hit triple digits again this week, in fact, possibly today. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane joins us now with details on the push to use all available resources, especially the cooling centers. Richard.
Absolutely correct, Lisa. Good morning to you. Good Monday morning, everyone watching us on the Plus. Basically, it's getting hot. It's not that hot right now, but later today, going to see some more hot temperatures. That's why places like this cooling center right here in East Charlotte, Eastway Regional Recreation Center, one of the places that Mecklenburg County says you can go if you're really in dire need and you need to beat the heat. Now, today, Mecklenburg County has activated its network of cooling stations around our area. This all aimed at helping residents get cool. These dangerously high temperatures continue to hit those triple digits. The county, in partnership with emergency management and local service organizations, have opened designated cooling centers where people can find refuge from the sweltering conditions. Several rec centers like this one here and senior centers are open for anyone to dip inside and just cool off. So if you or someone you know is struggling with the heat or lack of access to air conditioning, these cooling centers and resources are available now across Mecklenburg County. Now you can stay cool, stay safe, and let community services like Roof Above and Block Love Charlotte have your back.
Cooling station offers more than just somewhere to come indoors. It offers a safe place. It's a place to relax. It's a place to get your devices charged. It's a place really just to take a moment to unwind. I had one guy, after he took his nap, he was like, man, it feels so good to be inside.
Yeah, we can just imagine. Now at places like this, the Eastway Regional Center, you can come in the lobby, sit down, and just try to take a break from all of this heat. Just be safe out there, folks. We have a complete list of these cooling stations around our area, cooling centers around our area, and in our mobile app. We'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Richard Gervain, very important to stay cool, especially with this dangerously high heat. Thanks, Richard.
7:10 right now. All right, let's go to live pictures right now over the White House, where President Trump is celebrating a win after reaching a new trade deal with Europe. The deal could mean lower prices on cars and energy.
As NBC's Alice Barr explains, the agreement ends months of uncertainty with America's largest trading partner.
After months of tense tariff threats, a highly anticipated deal between top trading partners, the United States, and the 27 nations of the European Union.
It's the biggest of all the deals. Thank you very much.
The agreement reached at President Trump's private club in Scotland sets 15% tariffs on most European goods entering the U.S., the European Commission president emphasizing stability.
It will bring predictability. That's very important for our businesses on both sides of the Atlantic.
She underscored the improvement from the 30% import tax President Trump had threatened, while acknowledging it's still a real cost.
15% is not to be underestimated, but it is the best we could get.
The rate does apply to European cars, but there are exceptions, including no tariffs on aircraft parts, certain generic drugs, and some agricultural products. As details are hammered out, no word yet on rates for in-demand European wines. President Trump says the EU will not impose tariffs on U.S. imports and will purchase $750 billion worth of American energy, while investing an additional $600 billion into the U.S.
And they're agreeing to purchase a vast amount of military equipment.
It comes ahead of an August 1st deadline when countries that haven't reached a deal will see higher tariffs, forcing U.S. businesses that import materials from abroad to absorb more added costs.
It's a lot to shoulder for small business owners.
Or pass them along to consumers. President Trump meeting today with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, expected to refine the U.S.-UK trade deal that was announced back in May. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Well, as we all deal with this extreme heat, we're learning that if warmer weather leads to folks being more aggressive behind the wheel.
WCNC Charlotte's Megan Bragg verifies.
Our sources, the National Institute of Health, Harvard medical experts, and a field study titled Ambient Temperature and Horn Honking. The field study found when temperatures were below 80 degrees, the driver gave a light, short honk. But when temperatures were above 90 degrees, drivers really leaned on those horns. They honked longer and made unfriendly hand gestures. Another study published by the National Institute of Health found deadly crashes in the U.S. increased 3.4% on heat wave days between May and September. So what's going on? When we are stressed by experiences like road rage, we go into fight or flight mode. Harvard medical experts say our hearts pound faster, we breathe faster, muscles tense up, heart rate and blood pressure also go up. All of this is designed to get us out of a life or death situation, not necessarily a traffic jam. When we constantly get stressed about little things like road rage, it can lead to more serious health problems. So what can we do? Cool off and pump the brakes on road rage. Some experts suggest creating a stress-free car environment, like putting on some relaxing music, hanging a peppermint freshener, or just practice some deep breathing. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
All right, what about you guys? Be honest. Do you get a little road rage, get a little angry?
In the heat, anything tends to happen in the heat. When it's
Anything
this hot,
goes?
anything goes when it's this hot, I feel like.
Yeah.
Right. I typically don't, but I also have a Yanni CD in my car, as we mentioned, some relaxing music.
That'll do it.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
It
that'll
does
do it.
have some jams, though, picks it up. But I don't know.
I think you might be the first person to ever refer to Yanni's music as jams.
Okay, you haven't listened to The Storm. Just letting you know. Majestic knows all about
Night
it.
of the Acropolis.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
That is the CD, actually.
No, I told you my mother has it.
Yeah. I'll post them on my Facebook page. You can all jam out with me. No storms, at least earlier on. We do have a chance a little bit later on. No, seriously, Majestic's heard that multiple times walking into work so far. You have a heat advisory that goes from about noon to 8 o'clock, and then we only have one Pink County, and that is representing an extreme heat warning. Better chance of feeling like 110 plus. I think most of the range is 104 to 109 this afternoon, 104 to about 102. That's where it's ranging from 1 to to 6 o'clock, but I think the peak is right here about 3 to 4 o'clock. Whew. And we're mainly going to be in the upper 90s for the afternoon. That's the same way it's been most of the last couple of days. It's just that the final couple hours of the middle of the afternoon, depending, we'll try to get up to that 100, 101, and then we even hit 102 briefly yesterday. So, yep, another hot day. That's why I officially have been showing you this once an hour, the weather complaint box. You can email me at cmulkey@wcnc.com because many of us might be heated from the heat. And it looks like we are going to see a nice little change as well in the forecast because the 80s are here before you know it. 99, 101, 102, and then 100 degrees today. After today, I think it's going to be really tough for us to get up to that 100-degree point. Still 99, close enough, right, for your Tuesday. And then you have 97 on Wednesday, and then boo, down to about 81 to 83. This seems almost unreal because think about it. Right now, we're living life about 10 degrees above normal, and then now we're going to swing it 10 degrees below normal. People are going to say, what's going on here? Because 81 degrees is actually the seasonal high for September 21st. So literally we're talking about the last day of summer here as the way that it typically feels. Now we're going to waste no time getting back to around 90 degrees. So the beginning of August is just a facade, an illusion, but it is going to be a nice little treat. However, as I mentioned, there's a good chance for more clouds and rain that come along with that. I want to talk a little bit more about the major weather story, and it's not affecting us directly. What you're looking at right here is a decaying long-range system. This wasn't quite a derecho, but we have a good chance for a derecho. So derecho is a long-range wind event that can span over 400 miles and is 60 miles long, and that's with wind damage from gusts over 58 to 75 miles per hour. And I think that's going to be a good shot right here in the United States. We're talking about North Dakota, South Dakota, over into the Minneapolis area in Minnesota down to Iowa. So this is really the focal point as far as the major weather across the country goes. Check this out. See this right here, that little spiral? These little mesoscale convective systems can, one, provide some tornadoes on the bookends, but then the driving winds right here, whenever you have a comma like this, wow, you could have wind gusts over 70 miles per hour for miles. So good chance at a derecho. It's likely here, and it could even continue to the early morning hours, sparking up multiple severe thunderstorm warnings down into Iowa, and then eventually it's going to fade out. As for us, we're going to see a few hit or miss showers and storms over the next few days, but as that ridge, that heat dome has been directly over us, that's starting to clear. So you've been dealing with pretty much a sunny sky. We pick up some clouds, maybe 1 or 2 storms pop up heading in the evening. Now those storms could potentially be scattered to numerous because we don't have the same environment before. That's why you're starting to see a lot more green that's developing here on the map. Our rainfall chances also coming back, not looking at perfectly dry days anymore. Isolated, scattered, almost creating its own rain beat here. And then here's what it looks like for today. I think you have a chance for an isolated storm to develop really west of us, so that's a better chance over in the mountains in the high country, but 1 or 2 storms not out of the question. Usually a day like today, sometimes it's a little bit too warm. You almost have too much instability for us to be able to pop up a storm. But then once the sun starts to set, that's where it gets a little bit more favorable. So I think if we do see a storm, it's initially 5 to 8, and then after that, it's really either side of midnight that we see some storms start to jog in. This is also the time of the year that I showed you that derecho. I showed you that long-range wind event. We can oftentimes have decaying systems, so leftover severe weather events that make their way further down towards the south, and then we see them through the overnight. This is mainly just the energy from a few of those systems, so I think that really starts to flourish right along the I-40 corridor as late as 8 to midnight. But I think either side of midnight's the best chance for rain and storms for the Charlotte area. And then tomorrow, we pop up storms first in the mountains, isolated storms during the afternoon. Not a guarantee you see them, but about 40% of us should see a passing storm tomorrow afternoon and evening, and then we do the same thing on Wednesday as well. So get ready for more of an active pattern. Another look at our 7-day forecast. Today is the top. The bottom this weekend, 81, 83 is going to be a nice little adjustment, short-lived, but hey, a nice little treat, especially after what we've just gone through and still going through today. Let's see what's going on for our morning commute. Good morning, Majestic.
Good morning, everyone. Hope you're off to a great start to your Monday morning. Want to let you know about a few things if you have places to be this this morning. Let's take a look at those area roadways. One thing that I do have my eyes on is this accident right now. Right now, we know that the shoulder is blocked. It's on Brookshire Boulevard south at Roswell's Ferry Road. It's backed up to Lucia Riverbend Highway. So we're seeing that right there. It looks like it's impacting both ways, but mainly inbound. So just be mindful of that, slowing traffic down or your morning commute down about 5 minutes right now. Another crash is reported, still has not been cleared. North Sharon Amity Road at Shamrock Drive, seeing yellows and oranges, just indicating that there is going to be some slowdowns for that morning commute. Another thing that you need to be mindful of, this one is a new one. It's a crash on Providence Road at Pineville Matthews Road. I'll keep an eye on that, starting to see some yellow actually build there. And then here we have a stalled vehicle on Albemarle Road at I-485. That's what I'm watching for now. We'll have another check coming up here shortly.
All right, Majestic, thanks. Firefighters are ready to jump into action, but in this extreme heat, staying safe themselves is just as important. Reporter Anaya Cromartie explains how they do that.
Firefighters do their best to stay cool under heat advisories, but even on the hottest day, duty calls for those in the emergency business.
We do have a lot of heat-related calls. We have a lot of fainting, heat-related calls.
Firefighters like Jack White have to be ready at all times to grab gear and put on a suit that could weigh up to 70 pounds. But this is far from an easy task. It has to be done quickly.
We strive for under a minute. The faster the better, for both for us to get out of the door faster and for the caller.
And inside of the suit?
So there's a moisture barrier within the gear that's to prevent us from getting steam burns, but that also traps in all of the moisture that we emit. So all of our sweat stays in there, and it's very tough to get heat out of the turnout gear.
But there are safety measures put in place to help the professionals stay cool this time of year.
We have a rehab tent that has water. We'll have an EMS standing by so they could give IVs if needed. And they just check up on us, take our vitals, make sure we're okay. Just give us a breather so then we could throw our gear back on and get back to work.
Firefighters like White taking care of their needs so they're able to meet the needs of the community. Like mentioned earlier, most of the calls they respond to at this time of year are heat related. Their advice to everyone, make sure you're not out in the sun too long and hydrate as much as you can. In Wilmington, Anaya Cromartie, WECT News.
Hi, this is Larry Sprinkle. Time for a Monday trivia. We're going to take you about 250 miles above us, all about the International Space Station. It flies high above us right there, always circling the Earth. Some interesting facts, trivia facts today about the International Space Station. It travels 5 miles per second, weighs over 925,000 pounds, orbits the Earth 16 times a day, has 8 miles of wiring inside. It has the area of a football field, has 6 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a 360-degree bay window. In fact, looking out one of those bay windows, looking down at Mother Earth right there. And here is the crew. We're proud of what they do. That's your Monday trivia, the International Space Station. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
All right, Larry, thanks so much. Well, the company Astronomer has enlisted actress Gwyneth Paltrow to help deal with the fallout from that Kiss Cam scandal. You remember that. Listen to this.
Astronomer has gotten a lot of questions over the last few days, and they wanted me to answer the most common ones. Yes, Astronomer is the best place to run Apache Airflow. Unifying the experience of running data.
Adding a sense of humor there, Paltrow, you may know, is the ex-wife of Coldplay's Chris Martin. In the lighthearted clip, she puts the focus on what the data operations company actually does while acknowledging the recent interest in Astronomer. You may remember the company's CEO and head of HR resigned after that video, you see it there, of them at a Coldplay concert went viral.
The CEO and the HR director might be out, but I'm hoping that the marketing director just got a big promotion because
yes,
it was genius.
I mean, that was so
hilarious.
Good.
So
marketing person might be the new CEO.
That's right.
All right, well, families here in the Carolinas are soon going to see some relief for their wallets. Mark your calendars, folks, because South Carolina's tax-free weekend kicks off this Friday. From August 1st to August 3rd, shoppers can save on back-to-school items like backpacks, computers, and clothes without paying state and local sales tax. Now, this applies to both online and in-person sales. Many students began the school year without necessary supplies. That's why we're partnering with United Way for a back-to-school supply drive. You can scan that QR code on your screen to donate, or go to our website, WCNC.com/community. You can donate until August 11th. All right, we're going to take a quick break, but keep it right here in WCNC Plus. We'll be back with a look at weather and traffic, as well as the day's top headlines.
We're talking about 100 degrees. The normal high is at 90. Yesterday we hit 102, the hottest temperature we had since 2012. Highs are going to reach the upper 90s really about the mid to late afternoon. At that point, you could have a chance for a pop-up storm, but I think it happens a little bit later. Check out our real feel. Feeling like anywhere from 104 from 1 p.m. to about 106 to 109 between about 2 to 6 o'clock. And then we officially end our heat advisory at 8 p.m. But really, it's the mid to late afternoon hours that are going to feel the hottest. We also have a better chance for rain and storms. Those start to move in really a little bit closer to midnight. So anytime between about 8 p.m. and 4 a.m. we'll have some scattered storms. So many of us will be sleeping at that point. 70 forecast, still weather alert with chance for heat advisories now through Thursday, but a big dip. Look at the 80s Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So a nice change, Majestic. What's going on traffic-wise?
All right, good Monday morning, everyone. I-77 at Gold Hill. You can see inbound lanes are really crawling. Lots of people waking up and heading out the door. No big accidents there, just more people heading in the same direction. It's a beautiful start to our Monday morning, but my map is definitely picking up. One thing you'll want to know is this crash here. It's on I-77 at Woodlawn Road. There's a picture of what's going on. It's really as you get on that ramp, it's going to be impacting those southbound lanes. More coming up on WCNC Plus.
Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus at 7:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. Right now, major work is underway on air conditioning at the Mecklenburg County Jail.
It comes as inmates and staff could have some limited cooling during this week's heat wave. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Riches joins us in the studio this morning with a closer look at what's changing. Destiny.
Yeah, the air conditioning issue has been impacting parts of the Mecklenburg County Jail all weekend. The county says maintenance work is now underway this morning ahead of another day of triple-digit heat. Cooling at the Mecklenburg County Jail's Tower 1 has been operating at less than half capacity, just as dangerous heat grips Charlotte. Maintenance crews are beginning repairs this morning with the goal of restoring full AC by this afternoon. In the meantime, the sheriff's office says conditions inside will continue to be warmer than usual. To help, staff have put industrial cooling fans in place and are monitoring temperatures closely. And the work comes as Charlotte faces another brutally hot day with feels-like temps expected to be above 100 degrees. Now, despite the heat, the sheriff's office says they're ready to respond if conditions inside get too hot. Ben, Lisa.
So, Destiny, we should say that this was sort of a scheduled thing. Like
right.
This is, they knew they were going to have to do this, and they knew this was going to be part of the maintenance. The timing is just not great.
Yeah, so this wasn't like the AC breaking inside of the detention center or anything like that. They had scheduled maintenance this morning. When we checked in over the weekend, they said that they had to bring the AC down to 45% output, so less than half of capacity of air conditioning, so it was going to feel warmer, and we should get an update today, hopefully, on that being fixed by this afternoon. So they said while it is inconvenient, it was necessary for them to do that necessary maintenance today, and of course we've reached out, and hopefully that will get squared away soon, so it'll be a lot cooler in there.
When they scheduled it, they probably didn't realize it was going to be 102 on Sunday.
The timing.
Yeah,
timing
right.
is everything.
All right, Destiny, thanks.
Let's check in with Chris now to find out more about our forecast for this Monday. We are still weather alert.
We sure are, and I cannot wait until we're finally below normal. And it's also crazy, today's going to be the 22nd day at 90 plus. We almost overlooked this now because now this potentially could be day 3 in a row of 100 plus. And 79 degrees is the current temperature, so that's leveling out to be our low for the day. And if you factor in the heat index, we already feel like 82 this morning. So we'll see where our low temperature levels out for the morning, and then we're going to find that out over the next 30 minutes or so, because this could be our 3rd morning in a row of a record warm start for that day in climatology. Yesterday, 102 was actually not the record. The record for July 27th is 103, so we just missed it. However, July 26th record is 100 degrees, so we did break a record for this coming Saturday. Each day kind of varies. Some days will be 104, others will be 100 for the month of July. But regardless, today could be day number 4 of 100 plus, which, by the way, we've now had 142 days hit 100 degrees since 1878. That's technically when Charlotte record keeping officially began. It was October 1778, and this is the 76th time that we've had a 100 degree plus high temperature in July history for Charlotte record keeping. Now, 142 of 146 years of record keeping shows that it's less than 1 year average that we usually hit that 100 degree point. I think our high temperatures are really anywhere from 98 to 100 today. Some areas a little bit hotter the further east that you go. That's also where we have a designated extreme heat warning. And our surface temperatures, it really just depends. But I want to go through these because it's really important, because it only takes about 60 seconds with a surface temperature over 125 to cause some damage to your dog's paws or any of your animal's pads. Now, our surface temperature in the shade can actually sometimes be, depending, 5 degrees cooler, but it usually matches the actual air temperature, because air temperature is actually measured in the shade at the airport or any site that technically does it the right way. Direct sunshine usually averages about 10 degrees warmer, and it's something that we often don't factor in. So even direct sunshine in the grass could feel as much as 115. Now, moving over to the concrete, it feels more like 135 plus, brick 145, and asphalt, if it's in direct sunshine, a blacktop can feel like 155 to 170 degrees with an air temperature of 100 degrees. I just want everyone to note that average surface temperature for today, and a metal slide, don't even get me started. 77 degrees is going to be our low overnight tonight, so it's going to be another near record warm start to the day, and it could feel as much as 92. A heat index of 92 at 11 p.m. That's not great. Our heat advisory doesn't extend as late as it once did, though, for the most recent one that expired at 2 o'clock. Today's goes from noon till 8. Tomorrow we have another heat advisory from 11 a.m. until 8 p.m. So our 7-day forecast, 199, seeing a slow decline in our high temperatures. 94 with more cloud cover and rain chances on Thursday. After that, we finally are breaking our stretch and our streak of 90 plus. That should bring us to day 25, officially solidifying ourselves as the fourth longest 90-degree stretch. Then after that, the lower 80s, feeling more like the mid to latter part of September, and we are not complaining, even with more clouds and rain chances this coming Saturday. Let's get over to Majestic for this morning's traffic. How's it looking so far?
Good morning, everyone. Well, we definitely have things that are picking up, that's for sure. Want to give you an update. This active crash on westbound Woodlawn Road at I-77, the southbound ramp, it has actually been cleared, so traffic is now starting to flow just normally at this point. It was a quick moving accident that happened. Another thing that I'm following, though, is this right here. It's an accident that now has a shoulder that's blocked. It's on Brookshire Boulevard south at Roswell's Ferry Road. It's backed up to Lucia Riverbend Highway, so you can see all that red there. That's going to slow your morning commute down about 5 minutes. Another thing right here, it's a crash on Bradford Drive and Cantwell Street. This orange right here meaning that traffic is just moving slowly because of that ongoing crash. This has been ongoing for over an hour now. It's a crash at North Sharon Amity Road at Shamrock Drive. You can still see those colors, meaning that cars are getting around it. It's just moving a little slower because of the wreck. Makes sense here. And then the stalled vehicle, it's at Albemarle Road at I-485. And the last thing I want to let you know about, it's right here. It's at Providence Road and Pineville Matthews Road. A little bit of a backup there, only slowing you down a couple of minutes for your Monday morning commute. Ben.
Majestic, thanks. A crime alert this morning is 5 people are now recovering after 2 separate stabbings yesterday. First happened in southwest Charlotte on Fairwood Avenue, just off South Tryon. 4 people hurt there. And then the second stabbing happened in Uptown at the intersection of East Trade and North Tryon Streets. That's right by the Belk Theater. At last check, the victim had life-threatening injuries. Meanwhile, Lake Wiley boat owners upset after a string of thefts left several boats damaged. Owners believe the damage is in thousands, and this isn't the first time either. They put up cameras, but say the thieves haven't stopped.
For him at all? Yeah, that's what gets you the most is you can put cameras up, but he looked at it, just moved it aside and just went on his business. I mean, they didn't deter him at all.
Lake Wiley commissioners say CMPD is aware of the situation and they're urging anybody with information to come forward.
A Richland County man is in custody this morning after he allegedly shot a jogger who is black because of his race.
It's the county's first arrest under South Carolina's new hate intimidation law. Reporter Lena Allen spoke to neighbors who say it's still not enough.
Oh my God.
Spring Valley neighbors at a loss for words as they watch this video.
It makes me feel uneasy with being in this neighborhood.
On the morning of July 17th, deputies say Feckle shot at another man who was jogging because of the color of his skin. You can see a car parked in front of a gated area before a gunshot is heard. Feckle is then heard reportedly yelling a derogatory statement, "Keep running, boy," to the victim.
It honestly really breaks my heart too. I mean, for people of color everywhere, but particularly for people of color who live in this neighborhood.
But what's even scarier for Ryan Miro, the fact that South Carolina does not have a hate crime law.
That man just felt like he could do that. And there was nothing that he felt like that was stopping him from doing that. So I feel like we do need a law, or at least more knowledge of this ordinance.
Minority hate is terrible, and it shouldn't exist in this country, period.
Feckle is charged with not only violating the new Richland County hate crime ordinance, but also assault and battery of a high and aggravated nature and possession of a weapon during a violent crime. Richland County became the first county in South Carolina to pass a hate intimidation ordinance in June. The law makes hate intimidation a misdemeanor punishable by a $500 fine or up to 30 days in jail.
There are new names in the race for South Carolina governor. The field just gets bigger and bigger by the day, and it might even get bigger than this. Congressman Ralph Norman now running for the state's top office. He made the announcement this weekend in a speech in Rock Hill. Norman says he wants to pass term limits for state lawmakers. He was one of a few House Republicans who did not endorse Donald Trump in the presidential primary. Now he's praising the president, saying his actions would make him one of the greatest presidents in history. Norman hoping to succeed Governor Henry McMaster, who can't run again because of term limits.
I'm running for governor to shake things up. We're going to clean up Columbia. And finally, we're going to take down the corrupt political establishment once and for all.
Norman far from alone in the Republican primary. The race for governor heating up, with South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson and Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette also jumping in, and rumors others could still jump in. This morning, we're hearing from local political experts who are sharing what each candidate has to do to stand out in a crowded field.
I think it will be about who can mobilize their friends and neighbors, but also expand across the state. I think each candidate will be pulling from different segments of the Republican primary electorate, and we'll just have to wait and see who has the most resources, who has the broadest campaign organization and ground game to make a determination.
In North Carolina, former Governor Roy Cooper is expected to announce his run for U.S. Senate this week. Cooper spoke at a dinner for North Carolina Democrats in Raleigh over the weekend. It was his first public event since Senator Thom Tillis announced that he would not run for re-election. During his speech, Cooper slammed Washington Republicans and laid out his vision for North Carolina. Cooper is expected to announce his campaign this week. Well, this morning we are hearing from passengers who had to evacuate that American Airlines flight on Saturday. Now, this flight was preparing to take off from Denver International Airport when one of the wheels flew off the plane and into a nearby field. As George Solis reports, that wasn't the only issue.
Terror on the runway at Denver International Airport.
I just was briefed that there is a plane on fire.
Video shows fire and smoke billowing from under this American Airlines plane as 173 passengers and 6 crew on board were forced to evacuate using the aircraft's emergency slides on Saturday. Watch as one passenger falls. Another man with luggage in hand appearing to slip with a child.
You okay?
All as alarms blare on the runway. Another video capturing what appears to be a tire coming apart from the plane and rolling away. Flight 3023 was scheduled to depart from Denver, bound for Miami. The airline saying the combination of blown tires and the deceleration of the aircraft resulted in a minor isolated brake fire.
Somebody screamed, "Fire, burn!"
Passenger Mark Circus recorded this video of passengers running.
When did it become real for you? Well, when I heard the boom, I knew something was wrong. It was a loud noise from under a plane. I knew something serious just happened.
Circus says the aircraft was speeding up prior to takeoff and that the pilot reacted quickly.
As soon as I heard the boom, he started braking because we were speeding up at the moment.
American Airlines saying one passenger was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Tonight, the FAA says they're investigating.
George Solis with that report. Now, that incident coming just a day after another emergency on a Southwest flight. Authorities say the pilot had to make a maneuver to avoid a private-owned British fighter jet. It happened Friday on a Southwest flight from Burbank to Las Vegas. Investigators said that pilot was notified by an onboard alert system and dove several hundred feet to avoid the jet. Now investigators want to know why air traffic control missed the emergency.
8 minutes into the flight, felt a significant drop for about like 2 seconds. So I thought it was just bad turbulence. And then maybe like 3 seconds after that, the plane just was in a free fall for, I want to say like 8 to 10 seconds. And people were screaming, it was pandemonium. People thought the plane was going down. It was pretty wild.
Hard to imagine 2 flight attendants had to be treated for injuries. All right, here's a question for you. Do you find yourself feeling a little more irritable lately?
Especially if it was this past weekend. Because if that was the case, then the heat might have something to do with it. WCNC Charlotte's Megan Bragg verifies the connection between heat and your mood.
If you're getting a little more frustrated this week, you may not be alone. Let's verify how this heat can play a major role in your mood. Our sources: Susan Elbers, psychologist at the Cleveland Clinic; family physician Dr. Carla Robinson; a study from the Journal of American Medical Association Network.
When it is hot, your body is working on overdrive to keep it cool. This creates stress on the body, which releases cortisol, the stress hormone. It drains you of your energy and your emotional resources to think through issues in a logical way.
A JAMA study shows there was an 8% increase in mental health-related emergency department visits on the hottest days of the summer compared to the coolest days. The study also found more ER visits for aggression and violence. A study also found a 1 degree Celsius increase in temperature has been linked to a 1 to 2% increase in suicide incidents. Dr. Robinson says heat can also impact your sleep. Less sleep means you could feel cranky the next day. If you do need to do something outside, try doing them during the coolest parts of the day.
We recommend maybe saving those activities for, very early in the morning before it's, very warm and for the, the intense heat of the day, or maybe saving some of those activities for the evening hours.
So we can verify that, yes, an increase in heat can make you feel more irritable. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
And always keep in mind, if there's something you'd like us to verify, all you got to do is email us at verifywcnc.com.
And this July has not helped out because officially we still have a few more days to go. Look at how close we are, and with a chance of 100 today, 99 tomorrow. Our average temperature for July, 84.6. 1986 is only 0.1 degrees away. We're not going to pass 1993. 1993 was a historic season by far. But check out where we've been the last 2 days, 101, 102. And yesterday officially was the third time that we've hit 100 degrees plus. And the last time, by the way, we were 102, 2012. Yeah, 13 years ago. So yeah, this doesn't happen very often for us. As far as our heat streak, today officially I can say with confidence that it's going to be the 22nd day in a row that we've hit 90 degrees plus. One of those was 90 exactly. And then before that, we hit 17 days in a row. So say if that one day where we hit 86 when Chantal came ashore didn't happen, this would be by far one of the more historic streaks that we've had. But even today, officially tied for the 4th longest streak. And by the time we get to the end of the week, we'll eventually fall down in the 80s again. But we will have solidified that number 4 spot. So I know something that we are all looking forward to. But there's multiple records to go around. One that you wouldn't really think about, record warm starts to the day. So 76 degrees is the previous record for a record warm low. On Saturday, we hit 77. 76 then fell to 78 degrees yesterday. And this morning, 78 degrees is the record set back in 2016. And looking at it, our low so far, 79 degrees. So we're looking pretty safe with that. I think at worst, once the new update comes in at the 8 o'clock hour, we tie 2016. I'd be surprised if we drop 2 degrees during this stretch. And it is also going to be a near record high today. The record for today is 102. I think we're going to struggle to get to 100 degrees today. We don't have the same setup that we had previously. The normal high, by the way, is 90, so we're nowhere near that. And eventually we're going to shift to the opposite direction. So for our 7-day forecast, we have 99, 97, 94. So we are going to see a downtick in some of our high temperatures. And then eventually, once we get a change in the pattern, we're going to have 88 degrees on Friday and then the lower 80s. Crazy enough, that actually feels more like September compared to actually August. So those are the first days of August that we have to look forward to. Now let's get to some of our rain chances. Our rain chances are also going to be coming up today. I think you have a rarity for this afternoon, but then really later on this evening is going to be a much better chance, which, by the way, there's daytime chances for rain, and then there's also the overnight rain chances. I want to show you that. You can see that they really start to spike a lot more a little bit later on this evening. Thursday evening, a better chance. Friday evening, a better chance. So really most evenings, and that would be after 6 o'clock, is our best chances for rain over the coming week, but they're certainly a little bit higher than we once were. We had pretty much barely an isolated to a scatter potential before. Now, starting off the 8 o'clock hour, I'll have your full futurecast over the next few days, showing you some of your long-range patterns. I also want to talk about one of the big national stories, a potential derecho in the upper Midwest and the Plains states. More on that coming up, but first, it's majestic time. We're going to head over to our morning commute.
Good morning, everyone. I want to start with a picture of a disabled vehicle that may slow you down a couple of minutes. It's inbound on Billy Graham at Morrisfield Drive. You can still see cars are able to get around it, but it will slow you down just a few minutes. Drive times for your Monday morning looking all right. Just under 40 minutes if you're coming in from Gastonia, just under 30 if you're coming in from Matthews, 27 out towards Belmont. You can see my live traffic map. It is busy out there for your Monday morning commute. The first one I want to let you know about is right here. It's an accident with now the shoulder blocked. It's on Brookshire Boulevard south at Roswell's Ferry Road. It's backed up to Lucia Riverbend Highway, so you can see that back up there, slowing you down about 5 minutes. In addition to that, a new crash here on Bradford Drive at Cantwell Street. You can see the yellow, meaning that cars are just moving very slowly right around it. Another crash just off to the east of it. This one has been ongoing, still not cleared though. North Sharon Amity Road at Shamrock Drive. And then another one. This is a stalled vehicle on Albemarle Road at I-485. Noticing still mainly green, so I think the car by this point is off to the side and traffic is able to get around it just fine. This one here is a crash. It's on Providence Road at Pineville Matthews Road, and then off to the west here, our last one that I want to let you know about. I told you it's a busy morning. It's here on Still Creek Road at Westinghouse Boulevard. It's going to impact you if you're heading northbound this morning. Big picture perspective, if you're coming in on I-77 out towards Rock Hill or Fort Mill, it looks okay, but once you head closer to Pineville, that's when those backups are starting to build. Here's I-85 coming in from Gastonia. Again, starting to see those backups. No accidents there, just a lot of people heading in the same direction. As you're heading out the door this morning, here's a live look. This is I-77 at Gold Hill coming in from South Carolina. That's what I'm looking at for now. We'll have another check on those roads coming up here shortly. Lisa.
All right, Majestic, thanks so much. 7:51 now. Time for us to connect the dots. That's when we make the news make sense. A trip to the doctor could cost a lot more than you expect, not because of the care, but because of where it happens. Facility fees are surprising patients across the country, and they can cost hundreds of dollars. Let's connect the dots. Some hospital-owned clinics and doctors' offices charge an extra fee just for using the space, even if it's for a regular appointment and you never set foot in a hospital. One woman in Minnesota was charged $423 for her daughter's visit. A man in Ohio got hit with a $645 fee, and some patients are seeing bills as high as $1,000. Experts say these fees are becoming more common as hospitals buy private practices. And in many states, there are no limits on how high these fees can go. So what can you do? Ask up front if the office charges a facility fee. Get a cost estimate and double-check your insurance coverage. And if the fee catches you off guard, ask for an itemized bill. You might be able to negotiate or set up a payment plan. Bottom line, know what to ask before your next appointment, so you don't get stuck with an unexpected charge. And that's connecting the dots. This one is for the ladies. Did you grab a drink with your girls this weekend? A new study this morning shows that having a drink with your girlfriends twice a week is good for your health. A social experiment shows that getting together to share stories, maybe gossip a little, spill the tea, that can improve your mental and physical health. Researchers also note that the key to maintaining strong friendships is the amount of time spent together, hence twice a week. So think GTG, gin and tonic with your girlfriends.
Do the guys get invited?
I mean, girlfriends need their own time, but maybe later.
All right,
Maybe
Chris.
one of the
Guys,
two.
Chris, you and I, right? All right. Do you ever have that one friend who is never on time, even if it's a girls' night drinking? You know what? It might not be their fault. Psychologists have coined a new term. It's called tease optimist. I don't know where the tease come from, but it's when somebody genuinely believes they have more time than they actually do. It's not about being lazy. Their brain just has a more optimistic perception, a more generous perception of time. So when your friend says, I'm a human sway, they might actually believe it. I would just say, try that on your boss.
Let them know how that.
And say, I'll be like, hey, Todd, I was optimistic that I had more time.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing, you know, and not just our job, but Lord, if they want you there at 9 o'clock, that means really 8:50, 8:55.
Yes.
I just hate waiting. Like, I hate getting somewhere early and I'm just waiting around. I'd rather get there like right when I need to be there and get to work or do whatever it needs to be done.
And there are those people, and this is alluding to them, who are just chronically late. And like, sure, I'm sometimes late a few minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
But you've got those people, like I had an old friend and she was like late to like and you knew it was going to be like 20 or 30 minutes late.
Yeah.
Did
like,
you start telling her like it's going to be 30 minutes prior to the time?
And fair or not, you start taking it personally because you're like,
right.
my
You're
time is
wasting
valuable
my
time. And it wasn't personal, but like at the time I'm like, this is
kind of gets rude.
Get your life together.
A little disrespectful.
Yeah.
I'll try to get it together.
That's all right. You're juggling a lot.
I guarantee I'm going to be late.
Right.
All right, folks, so we're going to take a quick break. We do not want to waste your time. We are coming right back with a check of weather and traffic and the day's top headlines at the top of the hour. Happy Monday. Make it a good one.
Well, good day, everybody. Our heat advisor goes from noon until 8. This is day 3 in a row of a heat advisory, and we'll do it again tomorrow. That's one's from 11 a.m. until 8 p.m. We could feel as much as 104 to 109 during the middle to later part of the afternoon, and we are challenging 100 degrees yet again. Yesterday we were 102. Today looks like we could have an exact high of 100. Our highest heat indices over the next several days are today and tomorrow. Outside of that, we're right around the borderline heat advisory criteria for this coming Wednesday, and then we should be just below that come Thursday, and then Friday only feeling like the 90s. So that'll be a nice little change. As far as our rain chances go, I think it's really late this evening, heading closer to midnight into the early morning hours. We could have some storms spread across the area, pretty slow moving, so decent soaking there, and then we just really start our more active pattern after that. Let's head over to traffic with Majestic this morning.
Good Monday morning, everyone. We do have a disabled vehicle. Here's a picture of it. It's inbound on Billy Graham at Morrisfield Drive. It might slow you down a little bit, but cars are still able to get right around that. As far as our drive times, if you're heading out the door this morning, not seeing any big slowdowns, that's some good news for you. Just under 40 minutes if you're coming in from Gastonia, just under 30 if you're coming in from Belmont. One accident to let you know about. It's right here. The shoulder is blocked because of it. It's on Brookshire Boulevard south at Rossell's Ferry Road. It's backed up to Lucia Riverbend Highway. Take it easy.
streaming live right now at 8 a.m. on your Monday morning. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. The dangerously hot temperatures aren't over just yet. Now, this weekend was hot, but it's going to continue. Temperatures are set to hit triple digits again this week. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane is live this morning with some details on the push to use all available resources, especially the cooling centers.
Yeah, that is absolutely correct, Lisa. Good morning to you. Good morning, Monday morning, folks. All those watching us on the Plus. I want to tell you, when it gets hot like this, one of these places is important. Any place away from the sun and inside some cooling conditions, that's right here, one of the places you can come to. It is the East Away Regional Recreation Center, one of several recreational centers that are open to help folks beat this extreme heat. Now, Mecklenburg County has activated its network of cooling stations across our area to help residents stay cool as these temperatures soar, as you said, Lisa, into the triple digits. The county, in partnership with emergency management and local service organizations, has opened designated cooling centers around the area where individuals can find refuge from the sweltering conditions. Now, there are several rec and senior citizens open here in Mecklenburg County for anyone to come inside and try to stay cool. So if you or someone you know is struggling with the heat or lack of access to air conditioning, these centers and resources are available. Now, we want you to stay cool and safe and let community services like Roof Above and Block Love Charlotte take care of keeping you cool.
Cooling station offers more than just somewhere to come indoors. It offers a safe place. It's a place to relax. It's a place to get your devices charged. It's a place really just to take a moment to unwind. I had one guy, after he took his nap, he was like, man, it feels so good to be inside.
Yeah, that is good to hear. Now you can come inside centers like this in the lobby and just sit there and cool off, take your time and relax. Also, the splash ponds and swimming pools will be opening also, today. And also we can tell you that if you need any information on how to get to these centers, because CATS is running some bus services to some of these places, we've got all of that right inside our mobile app. We've got everything you need to stay cool. This is probably one of the last times I'll wear this jacket today. We'll send it back to you guys.
For your sake, I hope so. Remind us, Richard, because we're going to have a few more days of heat like this. Remind us, what are the parameters for when they open these centers so people can know, yes, this is a resource, or no, it's not quite available yet?
Yeah, that's right. When the temperatures soar to certain degrees, 95 degrees and above, that's usually the time that they'll say they'll open the centers. But if it's hot like right now, I just spoke to folks here at the regional center. They said the recreational center, Eastway Regional Recreation Center, they said if someone wants to come in right now and just cool off, they can do so. And it's pretty much the same thing at other places, because while there is a threshold for these centers being open or to the public, they're already open, like these recreational centers, the centers, the senior center, as well as some of those other places. So if you're feeling like you need to come in, even though it may not be 95, it may be 93, 90, if you need to go in there, the centers are already open and they're not going to turn you away, so you can cool off. Because while some people can handle it even at lower temperatures, above 90 degrees is hot. And so if you need to find your place like this, you can do so. Go in. So we'll say that there are qualifications of when they open the centers, but the recreation centers, senior centers are already open in place, so that makes it a little bit easier for you to find refuge if you need to.
Because that's the thing. When it's hot, and we all feel it differently. And you're right. You need to find a way to cool down. All right, Richard, thanks so much. You get inside, get some water so you too can stay cool.
All right, 8:04 right now. Let's turn it over to Chris with the aforementioned forecast. And Chris, we're not done with the heat.
We're going to try to hit 100 degrees once again. And Richard Devane, yes, double down. Definitely do not wear that jacket, even as of right now, because our heat index is almost to 90 degrees already, y'all. July 28th, the highest minimum temperature that we've ever reached is 78 degrees. That was back in 2016, but now there's another year. 2025, we officially tied a record warm low this morning, so that now is 3 days in a row of either a broken record or a tied record for the warmest low on record for that day in climatology. And it looks like there's a good chance that we could go day 4 in a row for Tuesday morning, where our forecasted low is actually 77, smack dab right on that point. A lot of sites aren't reporting their temperature right now, so I don't know what's happening right now. Maybe they have a 3-day weekend, but it's 83 degrees is the current temperature in Charlotte. So we're already up to 83. That says something. Actually, I have one high that's not even reaching that. 2 highs actually on our 7-day forecast, but 83 feels like 89 degrees already. That shows a testament about how hot it's going to be, and that's why we have as much of a 109 to 110 degree peak for our heat index. Here's our dog of the day. I do this at 6:25 each and every morning, and I like to show it to you occasionally here on WCNC Plus. This is the Downey crew that sent Maximus along. Hopefully you're having a great day, Maximus. And we're already feeling like 101 come noon. So we're starting to get to the point that it's almost a very small window that the dogs can go out before the surfaces really start to hit their peak. And I would say really it's now or never. And it's the next couple of hours that you're going to be okay. But then once you get to the afternoon, you're dealing with some dangerous surface temperatures. So today, as far as how hot we're going to feel, a little bit more detail, feeling like 104 as early as 1 p.m. and I think we hit a max about 109. So that's almost on par for the hottest feeling day of 2025, and actually one of the hottest feeling temperatures that we've ever had here in Charlotte history was 110. That was back in late June. Well, we could do it again today. So just note, yesterday was a peak of about 107. Very similar, if not hotter today and tomorrow, even though the actual air temperature is a little bit lower, but moisture came up a little bit, so it makes up for it. 109, 108, right around the cusp of a heat advisory or not on Wednesday, but the next couple of days are guaranteed. And Thursday, as of right now, it does not look like we're going to have another heat advisory, so that'll officially end that streak, but likely 4 to 5 are possible this week, and then you don't have to really worry about it outside of that. So let's talk about surface temperatures. This is really important. The shade, of course, is the best place, where you might not know this, that the actual temperature that we get from the airport is measured in the shade. There's this little device that goes over it to make sure that it's the shade temperature, because that's the actual air temperature. However, there are certain scenarios that the shade is just a little bit cooler, 95 to 100 degrees. In direct sunshine, sitting in the grass, you're feeling like 105 to 110, because on average, you're feeling 10 degrees hotter in direct sunshine. We'll have some clouds that'll help out from time to time. Concrete temperature is 135. It's at 125 that your dog's pads really could be affected within 60 seconds, and they might not notice the pain that they're dealing with, so that's why we're there for them. 145 on red brick. Red brick is always sneaky hot. And then here's the big one, the blacktop. Don't even want to spend seconds on this. As much as 155 to 170 on blacktop with a 100-degree high and sunshine. So I want everyone to be safe, and just noteworthy what those temperatures could be on each and every surface. Our high temperatures are on the decline, though, really after today. 94, 88, 81. What's going on here? We're factoring in more rain and clouds. The only adjustment I think that we could see here in the long term is, say, we deal with a little bit more sunshine. These temperatures come up to maybe the mid 80s, but right now, lower 80s looks to be a pretty good bet heading into the weekend. 80s in general is a treat, and we could potentially do that for 5 straight days after going about 22 to 25 days at 90 plus. By the way, today is day 22. By the end of this forecast, you can see here, we should finish that historic streak at day 25. The record was 33, but we're okay not achieving that. Now I want to talk about the big story across the United States. This is the leftover system. So this was a line of thunderstorms, technically a squall line that turned bow echo, but it's right in this area of red, especially for the Dakotas over into Minnesota and Iowa. This is a big time chance for what's called a derecho. A derecho is a long-lived wind event, but oftentimes they can travel 400 plus miles, causing wind damage from wind gusts anywhere from 58 to 75 miles per hour, and then they can also be 60 miles wide. It's one of the more destructive forces that come from weather, and they can cause just as much damage as tornadoes. And on top of that, whenever you have a setup like this, it's the bookends of these that can sometimes spin up tornadoes. So you have a tornado chance, but then you also have a chance for a serious straight line wind event, and then that could last also through the overnight. So some of us over here in Minnesota to Iowa are dealing with 70 to 80 mile per hour winds along the frontal edge of this line before it decays. This also brings up a really good point. It's this time of year that these constant systems will hold together, and they're so powerful that they almost turn into their own complex, so they outrun the synoptic scales or the jet stream. So that's also a thing that we have to keep in mind, that we're now heading to a part of the forecast, a part of the year that we're going to see a lot of these overnight rain events that otherwise won't really be factored in. We kind of have that, but it's just the energy overnight tonight that I think it's late evening after the sun sets to the early morning hours that we could have some scattered showers and storms. So don't be surprised if some of us wake up to a big rumble of thunder. And these are the ones because we have a solid temperature inversion, because it's so warm that if you hear thunder, it resonates for a while, or if it's really nearby, it's extra loud. So you could be woken up by that. And then we have that temperature profile over the next couple of days. So here's a closer look at that futurecast. We have scattered showers, a pop-up thunderstorm potential anytime in the afternoon to the early evening, but it's a better chance later on in the evening. So check it out. You have a chance for a scattered thunderstorm, especially around the I-40 corridor between about 8 and 11. It starts to work its way down towards the south. This is really the main window of opportunity, I would say, really between about 10 and 3 for the most active scenario. And then Tuesday, rain starts off in the mountains, and then we start to flip back over to the usual pop-up thunderstorm and rain potential. You see some form here down to the southeast. Outflows start to converge in the middle to late afternoon, and then we'll do that again on Wednesday. Since we're removing the big heat dome that has kept us so hot and actually closer to record highs than where we should be, now that it's retreating, sometimes the outer edge, known as the ring of fire, shout out Johnny Cash, can form a few more storms. Then also it allows some troughs and other things that lift up more storms to sneak back in. So plain and simple, that was the more complicated way and detailed way of saying, hey, we have more storm chances going forward. We still have a bunch of red bars here on the 7-day forecast because we are a weather impact alert, especially today and tomorrow. There's a chance that we might knock off Thursday just because things are trending down temperature wise, but it's so nice to see the 80s. Finally, our stretch of those 90s are coming to an end. Upper 80s on Friday, lower 80s heading into the weekend, which, by the way, the average high for September 21st, 81 degrees. So that's actually the first days of August feel more like September compared to the actual month. A much needed relief, Majestic, heading into the new month of August.
Oh, we'll be looking forward to it, that's for sure. I want to let you know that this has since been cleared inbound on Billy Graham at Morrisfield Drive. I've been keeping you up to date with this, but that is no longer a problem for your Monday morning commute. Quick look at some of those drive times as you're heading out the door. We are starting to see them build just a bit. About 37 minutes coming in from Gastonia, 25 if you're coming in from Matthews. In addition to that, my map, it's pretty busy out there. A couple of incidents that I want to highlight for you. This one here, still blocking the shoulder. It's on Brookshire Boulevard south at Russell's Ferry Road. It's backed up to Lucia Riverbend Highway. Still ongoing. It's just going to slow you down about 5 minutes for that morning commute. Another one here, it's a crash on Bradford Drive and Cantwell Street. You can see that orange is indicating that cars are moving slowly because of that crash. And then a new one that popped up. It's not too far away from 485. It's going to slow you down a little while. It's on Wilkinson Boulevard between Sam Wilson Road and Parrott Drive. Not seeing anything that's really popping up with those colors quite yet, but I'll keep an eye on that for you. Off to the east we go as we jump on over, still following this wreck. It's on North Sharon Amity Road at Shamrock Drive. And then finally, this is a stalled vehicle on Albemarle Road at I-485. Still seeing mainly green right there. That's what I'm looking at for now. We'll have another update here in a bit.
Now to a breaking news update this morning on that 45 crash that killed 6 people over the weekend. Highway Patrol tells us 16-year-old Logan Sauer collided with another car in the lane beside him, sending both cars into a semi-truck that was parked there on the side of the road. Sauer was killed along with 5 people in that other car. You can see their names and ages here on your screen. The youngest just a year old. A 16-year-old girl was also hurt but is expected to survive. 8:14 right now on WCNC Plus, and live pictures right now over the White House this morning, where President Trump celebrating a win after reaching a new trade deal with Europe. The deal could mean lower prices on cars and energy.
As NBC's Alice Barr explains, the agreement ends months of uncertainty with America's largest trading partner.
After months of tense tariff threats, a highly anticipated deal between top trading partners, the United States, and the 27 nations of the European Union.
It's the biggest of all the deals. Thank you very much.
The agreement reached at President Trump's private club in Scotland sets 15% tariffs on most European goods entering the U.S. The European Commission president emphasizing stability.
It will bring predictability. That's very important for our businesses on both sides of the Atlantic.
She underscored the improvement from the 30% import tax President Trump had threatened, while acknowledging it's still a real cost.
15% is not to be underestimated, but it is the best we could get.
The rate does apply to European cars, but there are exceptions, including no tariffs on aircraft parts, certain generic drugs, and some agricultural products. As details are hammered out, no word yet on rates for in-demand European wines. President Trump says the EU will not impose tariffs on U.S. imports and will purchase $750 billion worth of American energy, while investing an additional $600 billion into the U.S.
And they're agreeing to purchase a vast amount of military equipment.
It comes ahead of an August 1st deadline when countries that haven't reached a deal will see higher tariffs, forcing U.S. businesses that import materials from abroad to absorb more added costs.
It's a lot to shoulder for small business owners.
Or pass them along to consumers. President Trump meeting today with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, expected to refine the U.S.-UK trade deal that was announced back in May. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Now to some breaking news just coming into the WCNC Plus newsroom at 8:16. Former Governor Roy Cooper has now made official what many suspected. He is, in fact, running for U.S. Senate. Cooper making that announcement just a few moments ago on social media. Here it is.
It wasn't always this hard because being in the middle class meant something. You could afford a home, your kids went to good schools, your job paid enough to cover the basics, and most summers you could get away for a few days. For the most part, life was pretty good. I'm Roy Cooper, and I know that today for too many Americans, the middle class feels like a distant dream. Meanwhile, the biggest corporations and the richest Americans have grabbed unimaginable wealth at your expense. It's time for that to change. I grew up in Nash County working on the farm every summer. My mom was a public school teacher, my dad a small town lawyer and farmer. It's where I started my family, taught Sunday school for years, and started my law practice that helped everyday people and small businesses. When you made me your attorney general, I prosecuted criminals and took on scammers, big banks, and drug companies. When you made me your governor, we balanced the state budget every year and worked with Republicans to raise teacher pay, recruit thousands of better paying jobs, and expand Medicaid to more than 650,000 working North Carolinians. But right now, our country's facing a moment as fragile as any I can remember. And the decisions we make in the next election will determine if we even have a middle class in America anymore. I never really wanted to go to Washington. I just wanted to serve the people of North Carolina right here where I've lived all my life. But these are not ordinary times. Politicians in D.C. are running up our debt, ripping away our health care, disrespecting our veterans, cutting health for the poor, and even putting Medicare and Social Security at risk just to give tax breaks to billionaires. That's wrong, and I've had enough. I've thought on it and prayed about it, and I've decided I want to serve as your next United States Senator. Because even now, I still believe our best days are ahead of us. I love North Carolina, and I know you do too. I need you to be with us, and I can't wait to see you out there.
There you go.
Don't think it surprised anyone,
Yeah.
but it is official. He laid out the case there.
It had been speculated about for literally over a year now.
Right.
But to the point of where some people were starting to wonder, is he not going to run? What's happening?
What's the holdup?
But now he's confirming what I guess will be not his second act, but fourth or fifth act. I mean, he's run for office since 1986 and has never lost a race.
I was going to say, never lost a race. And this is going to be a really interesting one. I know he was speaking over the weekend in Raleigh. And you know, again, laying out the case of why he's the best person to serve in that seat that Senator Tom Tillis is not going to be seeking again.
And it sounds like from over the weekend that Wiley Nickel, a former congressman who was going to run,
yes,
reports indicate he might be rethinking that now that Roy Cooper's in the race. And of course, last week we also got an idea of how the Republican side is forming because Michael Whatley, national chair for the GOP, has decided he's going to run. He's originally from Watauga County, lives in Gaston County, and Lara Trump said she will not run.
She's not going to be seeking that office.
We still have to have the two-party primaries, but we're starting to get a good idea of will probably be one of the biggest and most expensive Senate races next year.
I was going to say, the money is going to be, I mean, just flowing in this race because you got a former governor and then somebody whose job was to raise money for the Republicans.
The fine folks of North Carolina are the kindest, warmest on earth, but we have nasty Senate elections. I mean, they are nasty. I mean, goodness gracious. You watch them and you're like, whew. I think back to Liddy Dole and Kay Hagan back in like 12.
Buckle up,
it's
folks.
Not for the weak of heart. So
it is not at all.
You
know what else?
Is this forecast?
That's right. Let's check in with Chris now to find out more. I mean, just look at the colors on the map there.
Yeah, pretty colors, but it also means it's pretty hot. So you have a heat advisory that means it can feel as much as 105, and we've done that for several days in a row now. And then that beautiful fuchsia that you see there, that's an extreme heat warning, meaning that it could feel like 110 or more. The greatest heat index I saw locally was 115 in Shirai yesterday. Yikes. Once you get up to about 125, it's at that point that heat stroke actually starts becoming more likely, not just a possibility. So we're also dealing with some of the hottest air that we're dealing with of the season, believe it or not. Yesterday was 102. The day before that was 101. We hit 100 exactly on June 25th. But the reason why I'm saying we're dealing with some of the hottest air of the season and of the year is because I think we have a little bit extra moisture that's in the air. It's already feeling like 89 degrees and it's not even 9 o'clock. So that means we're solidly into the 90s. The last time that I really saw it feel like that, or at least at this temperature this early, was when we hit 110 and also yesterday. So yeah, I think we're anywhere from 107 to about 110 for the peak heat index around the Charlotte area today. Not great. Also, looking at this list, look at how close we are. Charlotte top 5, the hottest Julys on record dating back to 1879, where we had the first July record keeping going for that month. 84.6, so I think it's a pretty good bet, especially with a high of 100 today and 99 tomorrow, that 1986 will fall as far as that goes. But check this out. I actually broke it down in a little bit more detail. The July rankings through 27 days, we have the warmest lows in July history and the third warmest average high and the third warmest overall average, as I just showed you on that list. So it's not just the highs, it's also the lows. The lows is what's really driving us up that list, where technically it was 1986 and 1993 that had a lot more 100-degree days than what we're going to finish with. But as soon as we get that front to clear, wow, 88 degrees. We're dealing with a front that means more rain heading into your Friday and Saturday, but that brings us to lower to the mid-80s, and then we're back to around 90 degrees by day 5 and 6 of August. And that's also going to bring our lows back down to the 60s, which, by the way, we have not had a below normal low since June 3rd. That's changing. As for those rain chances, they're starting to build as early as today. I'll go through all the near-term rain chances, the ones coming up heading into the weekend over the next 30 minutes. But first, let's head over to Majestic Storm with our morning commute.
Good morning, everyone. Well, it's your Monday morning if you are getting ready to head out the door. Let's start with this, just to look at some of those drive times as you're heading out. 25 minutes from Matthews into Charlotte, just under 35 if you're coming in from Gastonia. Here's a live look outside. Boy, it's a gorgeous start to our Monday. At least we have plenty of sunshine, although it is going to be another dangerously hot day. You can see our drive times and our traffic maps. They are starting to get busier now that more people are awake and heading off to wherever they need to be this morning. Still following this wreck, it's an accident. The shoulder is blocked. It's on Brookshire Boulevard South at Roswell's Ferry Road. It's backed up to Lucia River Bend Highway, so still not completely cleared yet. Another accident and a newer one is right here on Wilkinson Boulevard between Sam Wilson Road and Parrott Drive, so right outside of 485. One last one is right here. There's a crash on Bradford Drive and Cantwell Street. We'll have another check on the roads all coming up here shortly. Lisa.
Majestic thanks. Families here in the Carolinas will soon see relief for their wallets. Mark your calendars. South Carolina's tax-free weekend kicks off this Friday. From August 1st to the 3rd, shoppers can save on back-to-school items like backpacks, computers, and clothes without paying state and local sales tax. This applies to both online and in-person sales. And many students begin the school year without necessary supplies. That's why we're partnering with United Way for a back-to-school supply drive. You can scan that QR code you see on your screen to donate, or you can go to our website, WCNC.com/community. You can donate until August 11th. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We'll keep it right here on WCNC Plus. Another check of weather and traffic in just a few minutes, and then more of the day's top headlines at 8:30.
All right, who's ready? 83 degrees. It looks beautiful, right? But with a dew point of 73, it already feels like 89. So the next update at 9 o'clock, we're going to be feeling it, friends, and that means that our heat index, I think, is going to be as much as 100 degrees as early as noon, as high as 109 to 110 around 4 p.m. So the difference compared to yesterday, we're 2 degrees cooler for our highs, but the amount of moisture in the air is a little bit higher, so that's going to elevate our relative humidity and our heat index. 100 degrees likely for day 3 around the Charlotte area and Rock Hill. First time we've had 300-degree days in a row since 2015, and then those real feels again surging, and that's why we're under heat advisory from noon until 8 o'clock. 7-day forecast, 100 to 99. After that, temperatures starting to come down a little bit. We'll have a chance for thunderstorms each day. Today is a better chance really overnight tonight, many of us sleeping at that point, but then eventually a front's going to cool us down. Look at that, back to the 80s Friday and for the first weekend of August. Let's head over to Majestic Storm with your morning commute.
Good Monday morning, everyone. It is surely a beautiful start to your Monday morning. I-77 coming in from York County looks all right. No significant impacts there. Do want to talk about a couple of our ongoing wrecks. You can see my map. It's pretty busy out there this morning. This crash right here is on Wilkinson Boulevard between Sam Wilson Road and Parrott Drive. Then off to the east, another one here. It is showing up more orange, meaning that traffic is moving quite slowly. It's on Bradford Drive and Cantwell Street. Join us over on WCNC Plus. We'll have more.
joining us live on WCNC Plus at 8:30. I'm Lisa Washington. We're going to check in with meteorologist Chris Mulcahy. We want to find out more about our forecast on this very hot Monday morning. But right now we need to tell you about some major work that's underway on air conditioning at the Mecklenburg County Jail. It comes as inmates and staff could have reduced cooling during this week's heat wave. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live with us in the studio this morning with a closer look at what's changing. Destiny.
That's right. The air conditioning issue has been impacting parts of the Mecklenburg County Jail all weekend, and the county says maintenance work is now underway this morning ahead of another day of triple-digit heat. Now, cooling at the Mecklenburg County Jail's Tower 1 has been operating at less than half capacity, just as dangerous heat gripped Charlotte. Maintenance crews are beginning repairs this morning with the goal of restoring full AC by this afternoon. In the meantime, the sheriff's office says conditions inside will continue to be warmer than usual. To help, staff have put industrial cooling fans in place and are monitoring temperatures closely. The work comes as Charlotte faces another brutally hot day with feels-like temps expected to be above 100 degrees. Despite the heat, the sheriff's office says they're ready to respond if conditions inside get too hot. We've reached out to the county for updates and we'll be sure to bring you the latest later today. Lisa.
And Destiny, just to clarify, this is maintenance, so this was something that was scheduled. It's just the timing is bad because of the temperatures today.
Yeah, this was scheduled maintenance over the weekend. The county told us that they basically had to reduce the air conditioning output to about 45%, so it was going to feel warmer in there. They said this is inconvenient, but something necessary for this maintenance work. So hopefully we'll get an update and that can be alleviated and fixed by the hottest part of today.
All right, Destiny, thanks so much for that report. All right, we're going to check in with Chris now because, again, we're talking about temperatures. Again, feeling higher than 100 degrees. Over the weekend, we were, what, 101, 102 Saturday and Sunday?
Nope, 106, 107 was the absolute spike. I know. And Lisa, you brought it to my attention about Charlotte, where yesterday at one point it hit 115 degrees. So Charlotte was actually hotter than the real feel in Columbia. And that's saying something because you kind of expected a little bit more in Columbia. And now I know the southeastern part of our viewing area, such as around Chesterfield County, has always a better chance at reaching that mark. But yeah, I know the spike yesterday was 107, fell as much as 106 the day before. Today could feel as much as 109 because of the increase of that moisture. So the warmest lows have also been falling. So there's always the hottest highs, the coldest lows. Well, there's also a split difference there that you can have the warmest lows or the coldest highs. So back to back to back mornings, we've either tied or broken a record. This morning we officially tied 78 degrees, set back in 2016. And tomorrow morning I actually have a low of 77. Well, that could be another time. 83 degrees is our current temperature. That was the most recent update right around 8 o'clock, but it actually feels more like 89. What is going on? Where it actually feels hotter than Charlotte right now. We're dealing with a little extra mugginess in the air, so we're going to be feeling it. So I think as early as 9 o'clock, we're easily feeling like the 90s. And I have 99 there, but truly, I think you could almost feel like 100 as early as 11 o'clock, the way things are going. And then you have a general range about 101 to 110 across the afternoon. That's the reason why we're under a heat advisory that goes from noon until 8 o'clock. So the highest heat indices over the next few days, I have 109, but you could still hit 110. So the upper bounds of that heat advisory, same thing for your Tuesday. Things come down on Wednesday. So we already have a heat advisory in place for tomorrow that goes 11 to 8. Today is noon to 8. Wednesday's on the cusp. It hasn't been decided if there is indeed going to be a heat advisory, but it might be, I think, close enough by the National Weather Service. Thursday, Majestic and I are already talking about this. This is the day that probably will fall off of our weather impacts. This is just below the alert criteria, so I think that we can pretty much ditch that one. Now, each and every day is going to have a chance for storms. When you're this hot and humid, there's a chance for storms, but that's outside of any of our weather alert criteria. So 95 to 100. I want to show you this is because this is in general the shade, which, by the way, our temperature that's read at Charles Douglas International Airport has a little hood over it to keep it in the shade. So actual air temperature is actually measured in darkness. So that's usually where the temperature matches here, but sometimes shady areas, just because of differential heating, can be 5 degrees cooler than the actual high for the day. And those surface temperatures are going to be much higher, of course, in the sun. On average, about 10 degrees hotter in the sun, as much as 115 is how you feel. But watch out for your dog's paws, or even if you don't have your sandals, so I'm going to quickly run to the car. This is going to be hot, feeling like 135 plus. Now, there's a lot of factors here. Sometimes different mixtures of concrete can heat up faster than others, but these are average temperatures and they can have upper and lower bounds. But an average about 145 plus will be the temperature of red brick right in the middle of the afternoon, getting all that sunshine. But blacktop, this is frightening. 155 to 170 is the possibility about how hot that surface is going to feel. So especially avoid this for your pups and all animals, really. Our high temperatures, this is the top. We technically hit the top yesterday, but it's over the next couple of days. You have to stay most weather alert. Then we're starting to drop off, as I already showed you, the real feels, and then you can expect 88 to even the 80s. Yeah, there's a chance that we could have 5 straight days in the 80s to kick off the month of August. So July, top 5 hottest. August starting about 10 degrees below normal, at least for its first weekend. And then our low temperatures are going to actually trend down as well. We could have our shot at the 60s again. Haven't seen that since early June. And our first below normal temperature in over a month. Yeah, the last time that we had a below normal low, June 3rd. And it looks like the next time that we're going to have a below normal, August 3rd. So that crazy stretch there. Nice to see the 80s coming back. Lower 80s on Saturday and Sunday. Now note, this will come with a better chance for more clouds and some rain, but hey, we'll take it because we desperately need to cool off. Let's get over to Majestic, which I'm not sure if traffic's heating up or cooling down. What's their status?
How about just staying steady?
Like it.
Staying steady. We'll take it. Here's a look at some of those drive times as you're heading out the door. About 51 minutes if you're coming in from Salisbury, 28 if you're coming in from Belmont. Here's a live look outside and coming in from York County. It is beautiful, lots of sunshine out there, and not seeing anything too significant as you're heading out the door, at least for that direction. You can see, though, my live traffic map, we definitely have our backups that are currently building. Not only that, but multiple ongoing wrecks. Wanted to highlight a few of them for you. You want to take you outside of I-485 Wilkinson Boulevard between Sam Wilson Road and Parrott Drive. We have this ongoing wreck here, seeing mainly green around it, so it's not backing people up too much. Off to the east, though, a crash at Bradford Drive and Cantwell Street. You can see this orange here, meaning that traffic, it is still moving very slowly. As we zoom it on out towards Atondo, we do have a crash there in Leota Drive. Some yellow, meaning that cars are just kind of impacted by that one. So just take it easy as you're heading out the door. And this one still is not cleared, and I'm still seeing the color popping up here. It's on North Sharon Amity Road at Shamrock Drive. Another one that I want to highlight, it's a stalled vehicle, so not a crash, and we're not seeing any significant problems around it, but still be mindful if you travel out this way. Albemarle Road at I-485, that's where you will encounter a stalled vehicle. South of Uptown at Providence Road and Pineville Matthews Road, we're following this ongoing crash. Still not seeing anything that's too majorly significant, but still it's a crash, so make sure you're just driving slowly if you do encounter it as you're driving in this morning. I-77 out towards Fort Mill doesn't look too bad, but once you hit the 485 loop, that's where traffic is really starting to build, and much of the same out towards I-85. That's what I'm watching for now, Lisa. Lots of minor ongoing wrecks. We'll have another check coming up here shortly.
Majestic thinks 8:38 now, and a crime alert this morning as 5 people are recovering after 2 separate stabbings yesterday. The first happened in southwest Charlotte on Fairwood Avenue, just off South Tryon Street. 4 people were hurt. The second stabbing happened in Uptown at the intersection of East Trade and North Tryon Streets. That's right by the Belk Theater. At last check, that victim had life-threatening injuries. Meanwhile, Lake Wiley boat owners are upset after a string of thefts left several boats damaged. Owners believe the damage is in the thousands, and this isn't the first time. They put up cameras, but say the thieves haven't stopped.
Yeah, that's what gets you the most is you can put cameras up, but he looked at it, just moved it aside and just went on his business. I mean, they didn't deter him at all.
Lake Wally commissioners say CMPD is aware of the situation and they are urging anyone with information to come forward. Our Richland County man is in custody this morning after he allegedly shot a jogger who is black because of his race. It's the county's first arrest under South Carolina's new hate intimidation law. Reporter Lena Allen spoke to neighbors who say it's still not enough.
Oh my God.
Spring Valley neighbors at a loss for words as they watch this video.
It makes me feel uneasy with being in this neighborhood.
On the morning of July 17th, deputies say Feckle shot at another man who was jogging because of the color of his skin. You can see a car parked in front of a gated area before a gunshot is heard. Feckle is then heard reportedly yelling a derogatory statement, "Keep running, boy," to the victim.
It honestly really breaks my heart too. I mean, for people of color everywhere, but particularly for people of color who live in this neighborhood.
But what's even scarier for Ryan Miro, the fact that South Carolina does not have a hate crime law.
That man just felt like he could do that. And there was nothing that he felt like that was stopping him from doing that. So I feel like we do need a law, or at least more knowledge of this ordinance.
Minority hate is terrible, and it shouldn't exist in this country, period.
Feckle is charged with not only violating the new Richland County hate crime ordinance, but also assault and battery of a high and aggravated nature and possession of a weapon during a violent crime. Richland County became the first county in South Carolina to pass a hate intimidation ordinance in June. The law makes hate intimidation a misdemeanor punishable by a $500 fine or up to 30 days in jail.
Lena Allen with that report. There are new names in the race for South Carolina governor. Congressman Ralph Norman now running for the state's top office. He made the announcement over the weekend during a speech in Rock Hill. Norman says that he wants to pass term limits for state legislators and, quote, clean up Columbia. He is one of the few House Republicans who did not endorse Donald Trump in the presidential primary, but now he is praising the president, saying his actions would make him one of the greatest presidents. Norman is hoping to succeed Governor Henry McMaster, who can't run again because of term limits.
I'm running for governor to shake things up. We're going to clean up Columbia. And finally, we're going to take down the corrupt political establishment once and for all.
Norman is far from alone in the Republican primary. That race for governor is heating up with South Carolina's Attorney General Alan Wilson and Lieutenant Governor Pamela Abbott also jumping in the race. This morning, we are hearing from local political experts who are sharing what each candidate needs to do to stand out in this crowded field.
I think it will be about who can mobilize their friends and neighbors, but also expand across the state. I think each candidate will be pulling from different segments of the Republican primary electorate, and we'll just have to wait and see who has the most resources, who has the broadest campaign organization and ground game to make it.
Well, this morning we are hearing from passengers after an American Airlines flight was evacuated on Saturday. That flight was preparing to take off from Denver International when one of the wheels flew off the plane and into a nearby field. As George Solis reports, that wasn't the only issue.
Terror on the runway at Denver International Airport.
I just was briefed that there is a plane on fire.
Video shows fire and smoke billowing from under this American Airlines plane as 173 passengers and 6 crew on board were forced to evacuate using the aircraft's emergency slides on Saturday. Watch as one passenger falls. Another man with luggage in hand appearing to slip with a child.
You okay?
All as alarms blare on the runway. Another video capturing what appears to be a tire coming apart from the plane and rolling away. Flight 3023 was scheduled to depart from Denver, bound for Miami. The airline saying the combination of blown tires and the deceleration of the aircraft resulted in a minor isolated brake fire.
Somebody screamed, "Fire, burn!"
Passenger Mark Circus recorded this video of passengers running.
When did it become real for you?
Well, when I heard the boom, I knew something was wrong. It was a loud noise from under a plane. I knew something serious just happened.
Circus says the aircraft was speeding up prior to takeoff and that the pilot reacted quickly.
As soon as I heard the boom, he started braking because we were speeding up at the moment.
American Airlines saying one passenger was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Tonight, the FAA says they're investigating.
George Solis with that report. Now, that incident comes just a day after another emergency on a Southwest flight. Authorities say the pilot had to maneuver to avoid a private-owned British fighter jet. It happened Friday on a Southwest flight from Burbank to Las Vegas. Investigators say that pilot was notified by an onboard alert system and had to dive several hundred feet to avoid the jet. Now, investigators want to know why air traffic control missed the emergency.
8 minutes into the flight, felt a significant drop for about like 2 seconds. So I thought it was just bad turbulence. And then maybe like 3 seconds after that, the plane just was in a free fall for, I want to say, like 8 to 10 seconds. And people were screaming, you know, it was pandemonium. People thought the plane was going down. It was pretty wild.
2 flight attendants had to be treated for their injuries. So here's a question for you. Do you find yourself feeling a little more irritable lately? The heat could have something to do with it. WCNC Charlotte's Megan Bragg verifies the connection between heat and your mood.
If you're getting a little more frustrated this week, you may not be alone. Let's verify how this heat can play a major role in your mood. Our sources: Susan Elbers, psychologist at the Cleveland Clinic; family physician Dr. Carla Robinson; a study from the Journal of American Medical Association Network.
When it is hot, your body is working on overdrive to keep it cool. This creates stress on the body, which releases cortisol, the stress hormone. It drains you of your energy and your emotional resources to think through issues in a logical way.
A JAMA study shows there was an 8% increase in mental health related emergency department visits on the hottest days of the summer compared to the coolest days. The study also found more ER visits for aggression and violence. A study also found a 1 degree Celsius increase in temperature has been linked to a 1 to 2% increase in suicide incidents. Dr. Robinson says heat can also impact your sleep. Less sleep means you could feel cranky the next day. If you do need to do something outside, try doing them during the coolest parts of the day.
We recommend maybe saving those activities for, very early in the morning before it's, very warm and for the, the intense heat of the day, or maybe saving some of those activities for the evening hours.
So we can verify that, yes, an increase in heat can make you feel more irritable. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
And if you have something that you would like verified, just email us at verify@wcnc.com. All right, well, stop what you're doing and take a look at your screen now. This is a live look from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. How beautiful is that? A great morning to enjoy the beach if you can, but if not, you're here with us, still hot. And regardless of where you are, you're gonna need to wear the sunscreen today, drink plenty of water, and just beware of the heat because once again, dangerously hot temperatures today.
Yeah, Lisa, I think we were joking about this, that this is the first time that, all right, fall can come now. We're okay with it. Temperatures are going to eventually drop down to more of a September level before you know. But here are today's top temps. I think the hottest temperature ever across Charlotte is 100. The peak heat index around 109, 110. Lake Norman, by the way, the water temperature anywhere from 93 to 94. Your concrete temperature 135 and asphalt 155. This is just kind of like a bottom range for concrete and asphalt. That was mentioned before. It could be much hotter than that, especially in direct sunshine. Say some areas see sunshine a little bit longer. That's all going to be a possibility. So I just want everyone to note that it is another hot day, even though it is technically cooler than yesterday. Yesterday we had a high about 102. Today it could be as much as 109, 110, 108. So that's why we have a heat advisory today. That heat advisory goes until 8 o'clock starting at noon. And then tomorrow it starts 1 hour earlier, right around 11 a.m. But check out some of those real feels that we're dealing with here. Seeing about that 108, 109 time frame. Even though this is a little bit lower lower. This is picking up on a thunderstorm or two, even though it doesn't look to really be a confidence there. It's really between about 3 and 5 that we're going to have the best chance of hitting an actual 100-degree point. And then it's really about that 3 to 5 range that is also going to have our hottest real feels as well. Today and tomorrow are the only ones that have any sort of extreme on this map. It's product by the National Weather Service. Then you know when you have the higher risk for heat exhaustion. And then once you get to Wednesday, this is coming down big time. We're still likely going to have another heat advisory, but that looks like it could be the last day as things are starting to change. The reason why we've been so hot is because of a heat dome, but that heat dome is about to say goodbye. And then sometimes the outskirts of that can allow for more scattered showers and thunderstorms, and that's precisely what we're going to see today. And this is also known as a ridge. So a ridge is literally where the jet stream is going over us and allows all that heat to build. Well, the inverse of that is a trough, and that trough is going to dig in some cooler air, and that's why we're going to see a nice little change. So check out over the next 36 hours. There's been barely anything popping up recently, but we're going to see a continued uptick in our storm chances over the next few days, just because we have more nearby troughs and just a better lift in general just for some storms. So today, if you see storms, I think it's mainly going to be the western side of the Carolinas. There's the slightest chance for an isolated storm. Don't want you to get caught off guard. So better chance than the last couple of days, but still very low. But then later on tonight, this evening, mid to late evening into the early morning hours, you can see storms spread across the area. And the way that the profile of this atmosphere is, it could be some loud rumbles of thunder or the ones that really resonate for a longer period of time. It's called a temperature inversion. By tomorrow morning, I think we're clearing things out. Could have a little bit of fog. Then eventually we see sunshine. And then we're starting getting used to the usual pattern that, hey, we have a pop-up shower or a thunderstorm. And they start to spread across the afternoon, starting in the mountains, starting to the southeast, and they could converge right over Charlotte. So another chance for a stronger thunderstorm tomorrow, and then we up our chances again on Wednesday. So pretty much plain and simple, it's not a guarantee that you're going to see storm each of these next 3 days. It's just a much better chance than where we have been. Weather alert for the next 4 days. However, if I were to take one off, it is Thursday. Thursday looks like it's below the criteria. We'll keep it for now. And then 88 on Friday, and then the lower 80s Saturday and Sunday. So it's going to be such a nice change, getting back to actually more like September-like weather as we head into August. This is very brief, but it's a nice reset compared to where we just have been. Majestic, take it away.
All right, we'll take what we can get, that's for sure. Let's take a look at those area roadways as you're heading out the door. I-77, it is surely a gorgeous start to our Monday morning. You can see area roadways are looking all right. Good morning to everyone waking up and joining us from York County or just South Carolina in general. Some of our drive times this morning, I'm not seeing anything too out of the ordinary. About 25 minutes if you're coming in from Matthews and 32 if you're coming in from Gastonia. Here's my live traffic map. You can see a lot of green right now. For the most part, only 2 active crashes at this point. We'll take you off to the first one. You can see it here. It's on Wilkinson Boulevard between Sam Wilson Road and Parrott Drive. I'm not seeing a lot of colors around it, so probably very minimal impacts with that one. Off to the east, still following this one at Atondo. You can still see it here as we zoom it on in. Much of the same, still a lot of green around it. Atondo Ave and Leota Drive. Want to zoom it out because out towards Independence, things are slowing down just a little bit. We did have a crash there at Providence Road. That one has since been cleared, but you can see those backups are starting to build out there on Independence. Just more people all heading in the same direction. No actual accident there. And then much of the same I-77 starting to build. Take it easy. We'll have another check on those roads all coming up here shortly.
Hi, this is Larry Sprinkle. Time for Monday Trivia. We're going to take you about 250 miles straight up in the sky. We're talking about the International Space Station. It's way up there. There's a great view of that taken from a vantage point. This has been about 2 years ago that shot was taken. Some facts about the International Space Station. It travels 5 miles per second, weighs over 925,000 pounds, orbits the Earth 16 times a day, and has 8 miles of wiring. Inside is an area of a football field. That's the size of it. The expanse has 6 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a 360-degree bay window. And here's a view of that's what the bathroom looks like on the International Space Station. Quite a view right there. And this actually is a view from the International Space Station of the North Carolina coastline. What a great shot. That's our Monday Trivia. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
All right, Larry, thanks so much. The company Astronomer has enlisted actress Gwyneth Paltrow to help deal with the fallout from the Kiss Cam scandal. You remember that it was all the rage last week. Listen to this.
Astronomer has gotten a lot of questions over the last few days, and they wanted me to answer the most common ones. Yes, Astronomer is the best place to run a patchy airflow. Unifying the experience of running.
Paltrow is the ex-wife of Coldplay's Chris Martin. In the lighthearted clip, she puts the focus on what the data operations company actually does while acknowledging the recent interest in Astronomer. You might remember the company's CEO and head of HR resigned after the video of them at a Coldplay concert went viral. All right, well, we're going to have more news, weather, and traffic coming your way when our Jane Monreal takes over from our live Impact News studio at the top of the hour. A lot of things happening today. Top of mind, of course, is the heat, because once again, Charlotte and the surrounding area expected to reach temperatures close to, if not in, the triple digits today. We'll have more on your forecast coming up, again, as well as the day's top headlines. So make sure you keep it right here on WCNC Plus all day.
We're not done yet. 109, 108 looks like the peak heat indices over the next couple of days. 105 right on the cusp of a heat advisory for Wednesday, and then after that we should be done with our heat advisories for now. We're actually heading the opposite direction. This is a big shift compared to what we had last week. 100 today, 99 tomorrow, and then mid to the upper 90s Wednesday and Thursday. After that, 88. Then the lower 80s, even, with on and off storms really starting to pick up, especially through the middle of this week. Let's head over to Majestic on your Monday morning commute.
Good morning, everyone. Well, keeping a close eye on a few things for you. We do have 3 active accidents I want to get to talk to you about. The first one, though, is going to be the most important one. We're watching this very carefully. It's an accident. The shoulder is right now blocked. It's on I-85 South at University City Boulevard, exit 43, but it's backed up to W.T. Harris Boulevard. So again, the shoulder's blocked. I'm not seeing any significant slowdowns, but just be mindful of that. Otherwise, another crash here. It's on Wilkinson Boulevard between Sam Wilson Road and Parrott Drive. Hope you have a great Monday and take it easy out on the roads.
Let me get my remote. Okay, here we go. And then I just gotta get the script. That's 8:56, 8:30. Can I like zoom all the way to the top somehow? No. I don't think it's working. No, because that's the cut in. It's not loaded. Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, I'm just needing the script. Also. I'm unable to get to it. No. Too much over here. Okay. Okay, I can scroll from here. Wait, oh, that's Kings Mountain. That's a different, okay. Okay. Okay, that is it. All right, I will count me down in 3, 2, 1. The air conditioning issue that's been affecting parts of the Mecklenburg County Jail all weekend is due to routine maintenance, not an outage. Officials say repairs got started around 6:30 this morning, just as another day of triple-digit